I'm back. I'm back from my Ayahuasca retreat, and it was such a good time. I was welcomed with warm, open, loving arms, and the plant medicine was amazing. And just what an experience. It's going to be so hard to put into words. I feel different. I feel like weight has been lifted. I feel like I've changed and something has shifted in me. And I want to share what I can while it's still fresh, but I do want to keep this a little bit brief. So I want to reflect a little bit on before going in. So I was looking for myself a bit. I felt a bit lost. I wanted to find some sort of truth or healing, or even maybe like rediscover a part of myself that I've been lost along the way. And literally just before we got on the plane, I got really nervous because I knew that it was going to be such a transformative moment. So what happened? I done tobacco ceremonies, witchy gum, Kambo ceremonies, which I've done I've done quite a bit here. They bone your skin, peel a layer back, and put this like secretion, like frog secretion on you, and it detoxes you and cleanses you. The tobacco will detox and cleanse as well. Sometimes you'll feel energy or like vibrations in you, and like you just purge stuff. Like you might throw up and purge, you might like shake and release, or you might just feel stuff and release. And that's without the psychedelics, and that just was like amazing. And then we had the plant medicine, so I had 2 ayahuasca ceremonies. The first one was I was quite resistant, and then I sat with like a lot of like my pain and hurt, but I'm like grateful for that because I was allowed to acknowledge it and like experience it. And that bit was a bit tough. Like the whole thing has been tough, like the tobacco, the Kambo, like all of it is very intense. And at points I didn't know if I could continue, but I'm so glad that I did. And then you have the ayahuasca, and like I said, my first ceremony. Then the second one was like this energy and this like loving feeling and like nice vibrations and like just being like hugged by like a mothering, nurturing, feminine energy. And it made me feel loved and also realise like I can love myself and I can accept myself. And I did have visions and bits like that, but I feel like a lot of people focus on the visions a lot rather than like the felt experience and how it feels and the changes you can make. And if you want me to like dive deeper into that sort of thing, then I'm happy to share, like maybe I'll do a video per day like of what happened on the day, and I'll go a bit more into it. But for now I just want to keep this a bit brief while I still integrate and go through all that. And then the last ceremony was a Bufo ceremony, and that exposed me, exposed all the pain and hurt that I've caused others. And it showed me that on my deathbed I have 2 choices. I either don't accept and take responsibility for the pain and suffering I've caused, and I continue to live with the guilt, the shame and the anger towards myself, and I continue to hurt myself and hurt others, and in hurting others I hurt myself, and in hurting myself I hurt others. Or I learn to love and forgive myself, take accountability and responsibility for what I've done, and learn to change and take steps to becoming more like loving and forgiving of myself and others, and like appreciate myself and like have gratitude for what I've experienced. And I chose that, and I choose that, and I hope every day until the day I truly pass away I choose this. And there was 2 moments that I think are important, and that's in the Bufo in the last ayahuasca ceremony, and that my identity fell away. And that's like who I am. Like I'm Michael, I'm an electrician, I'm 25, I'm white, I'm British. Like all these labels that we identify each other with or connect or disconnect with just went. I was pure presence, being, got something in my eye, and I was pure love. And I was just this awareness because there was no me to identify myself by. So that leads us on to what I learned. I learned that I like to control, my ego likes to control, and by doing that I resist life. And there's a quote that I found a while ago that was, in resistance to life, you create suffering. So I choose to not resist and I choose to not suffer. I'd rather live through love and learn through love, instead of learning through pain and having to suffer all the time. And the medicine showed me that I didn't trust life, and that in resisting life I also resisted love from the universe, or appreciating the universe, or like trees and nature, or like another human being. And it made me realise just how important being loving and appreciative and grateful is. So now, after all of the retreat, it's time to integrate. So just because the retreat has ended doesn't mean it really has. It's sort of only just begun, because I have all these processes of becoming what I learned and what I became while I was at the retreat. You know, it's so easy for like a monk to be great in a monastery because that's the environment they're in. But take a monk out of a monastery, how are they then? And that's sort of what I'm trying to process and learn. Like, how can I bring who I was there at the retreat into everyday life? And I'll do that through journaling, breath work, eating clean, and just trusting the universe more, and loving myself and forgiving myself, developing good habits and just developing my character. So to all those that are sort of considering ayahuasca, what do I have to say about my experience? It's hard, it's very intense, very hard. On day one I wanted to give up and I didn't want to do it anymore, but I'm glad I persevered and I got all the benefits from it. You're going to have to face yourself, you're going to have to go with humility and reverence and faith, knowing that you'll make it through, and that just because it's challenging doesn't mean that you're going to be hurt or it'll be a horrible experience. In some bad trips, they're the best ways to learn, and it's important to not try and control and just to let go and drop your expectations. And if you feel called, just make sure that you vet your retreats and your facilitators, and they know what they're doing and you know where you're going and that sort of thing. It's like a mirror, like you're going to be shown not necessarily good things, but in acceptance of that you can learn and move on. So I invite you to like discuss in the comments or with me, ask more about my experience. I'm happy to share more in other videos, or just like in a Q&A form, or any questions in the comments. I know this has been very brief and very quick, but I feel like if I describe too much or say too much, then it'll get confusing or people won't understand. And a lot of people just talk about their visions like they saw shapes and entities and all that. And it's more about the felt experience to me and who I'm becoming and what I've learnt than funny shapes and colours and that sort of thing. And I do want to share a quote which I'll just pull up. And that is that the medicine doesn't give you what you want, but it will definitely give you what you need. So if you're wanting to go for this sort of retreat, it's important to remember that and to accept that you might not have a great time, but it'll be needed if you can sort of see through all the hurt and the pain. But equally you could have a beautiful time like me. Well, I had a hard and beautiful time. But anyway, I wish you luck in your journey. Feel free to comment, feel free to subscribe. I'll probably release some integration videos later on down the line. And I love you all.